as a country, we need to look at solutions that will help the people. As we tell them to stay at home, we should also give them a solution. And also at the same time, as we tell people to stay at home, we need to take care of the business so that this economy does not go into a recession. It is very difficult to get into a recession in a country. So one of the first proposals that I would like to make is that we need to do electronic food stamps for families that are at home. Now, the electronic food stamps at home, for families that are at home, need to be done in such a way that because government has Huduma number data, the Huduma number data actually tells you the people that are economically challenged and financially challenged. Now, these people, because we have this Huduma number data, government can actually adjudge those that require food support, and therefore, using the telephone numbers that they have in the Huduma number data, be able to send electronic food stamps to each family on their phone. This can be done in such a way that a family within a week can be given at least 3 packets of unga, 2 kilograms of beans, and 1 liter of cooking oil for every person that is adjudged as financially and economically challenged within the Huduma number data that we have. This way, the person getting this number can go to a retailer or an outlet or a supermarket or whichever other place where they will accept this Huduma number electronic cash transfer, and therefore they'll be able to be given food. If it is also difficult to make movement available, the government knows the villages, wazee wa nyumba kumi, they should be used to ensure that they distribute food to these families on the numbers that have been given by a government for the families that require that support. So electronic food stamps can be used to ensure that the person who is mwananchi, who requires support, gets the food. The second one is on food subsidy. Right now, the economy is not doing very well. Those people that are in business right now do not have money. They're not receiving any money. So one way of cushioning them is to ensure that we give them a subsidy of half the prices of foodstuffs, such that if I go to shop at Tuskys and I know I'm a citizen of this country, I should be given the prices at half rate. Government, therefore, repays the supermarkets the difference, so that the supermarket can lodge a claim with government, and therefore can be reimbursed that money in form of tax refunds or in terms of rebates that can come back to government. This way, we shall ensure that there's money circulation. We achieve 2 things. Money will be circulating in the economy, and therefore businesses will not close, and 2, families will be sustained using this way, so that when you tell people to stay at home, they can actually stay at home, knowing that actually government is looking at them. And by obeying government orders, there is a cost to it. When we say we are obeying and we are saying 100% lockdown, there is a cost to it. The cost forgone must be taken care of. And therefore, we can do that by ensuring that we are giving them food. And apart from that, we will also realize that our businesses will not close, and therefore the economy will not go into a recession. The third thing, which is important right now, and government needs to start planning going forward, is on school fees. As we closed schools, but schools will open and they'll have debts. Parents will have accumulated debts. Schools waiving will not be a solution, but government can look at a calculation of all schools, because it has data of all schools, and request headmasters and principals to send them the amount of money that they owe parents in terms of balances. And government can actually now do double capitation per student, and therefore clear all school fees in the schools for this term. Secondly, going forward to the second term, there'll be no money to pay for second term fees, looking at the way the economy is performing. And therefore government again can bring to Parliament, or can ask Parliament later on through a supplementary budget to ensure that we vote for all the fee balances of fee requirements for all schools within this republic, so that the schools can be sent the money directly, to ensure that we cushion the parents against the huge debts, and also to ensure that our schools, if we don't do this, the education system will collapse. And the education system collapses, then that's when you see a country collapses. The other item that we need to look at is, in Kilifi and the coast in general, rely very heavily on tourism. Now, because of the shutdown of traffic in and outside the country for airplanes and all that, the people who will suffer most are the people at the coast, and especially this county of Kilifi, Lamu and Kwale and Mombasa. There'll be a huge suffering because all these people will be laid off. There'll be no money to pay them. Now, one of the things to do it is to ensure that they are retained in the payroll, whether they are permanent or casuals. They should be retained on the payroll, and the hoteliers should continue to pay these people their salaries. Then after we are through with this outbreak, what we can do is these people can send the data to government. As they send the data to government, government will be able to now do it at tax level, where they can refund them tax or give them back their money that is supposed to have been paid as tax, so that now the hotels can stay afloat. That way we'll have a win-win. The hotels will not suffer and the workers will also not suffer. But government, instead of receiving tax, it should refund it to the hoteliers who will have sustained all those people at work. The other item which we need to look at as a proposal is to look at farmers who deal with perishable goods. Farmers who have chicken layers right now, and because they have plenty of eggs they cannot sell. 2, farmers who have broiler chicken, which they cannot dispose of. Why? Because there is no market, because people are shut down. And 2, there is no feed to continue feeding them, continue feeding the chicken. And if they continue feeding them again, it becomes a loss. So my proposal is that government needs to have a way to buy off this chicken for their prisons and take all this food to the prisons, those hospitals that are there, orphanages that have not been closed, children's homes that have not been closed. They should be able to buy all this chicken and take it to these places and ensure that the farmer still has money and is able to do this business after this problem that we have. Now, if we don't do that, farming will collapse. The farmers who have taken loans, the farmers that are on credit lines for their produce, we will not have money to pay back, and that becomes a problem. And then all these perishable goods that we have will be lost. We also need to look at related companies where, for example, if you're going to lay off staff at Mombasa Cement, you're going to have a problem. But Mombasa Cement can continue to pay the staff of Mombasa Cement. And then, because they're one of the highest taxpayers in this country, they should be able to be refunded the money for which they paid this staff. These are proposals that can help us within the 1 month, 2 months, to ensure that as the coronavirus problem ends, we shall have cushioned our people. Kilifi might go into a lockdown. If we go into a lockdown, then we need to have a solution. And the solution is to ensure that we have food stamps for our families, all the families, where the government will bring food to the cereals board depot that we have here. We have vehicles that can be able to transport this food to the families that have received food stamps, and there'll be minimum or minimal contact, and also there'll be no movement. And this can even be done during the quarantine period that the government has announced, or the lockdown from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. During that particular time, government actually can do the distribution of food and reduce movement of the people. This way, then we can cushion our people from imminent death because of hunger and not because of the virus.